on today's episode of Where's the Truck and Instructions. We're going to talk about driver fuel efficiency and fuel compliance, how to access those numbers in your apps, what the numbers mean, and how you can affect them.
Hi, my name is Brian Fry. I just go by Fry, as most of you know. I'm in the safety department, and I am currently assigned the task of watching the fuel efficiency and fuel compliance for the company. You know, there's a new scorecard in place, and all of you have an opportunity to put a little extra money in your pocket and make the company a little bit more sure-footed financially. And all of this comes into play because we know how much fuel is costing right now. We've seen some pretty extreme fuel prices out there in the past, and us pitching together as a team, watching this stuff, and doing our best to keep it in check is what makes this company continue to be successful. It's a lot more than just where you get your fuel. It's how you use your fuel. And we're going to go through that here in just a minute, showing you the different apps that we have using Samsara and your Keller 1K app that keep you on top of the game and being the most efficient driver you can be. To view your Samsara scores, simply look next to your name to the trophy icon. Touch the trophy. When this opens, you're going to see two scores, a safety score and a fuel efficiency score. These scores are 0 to 100, 100 being the best score you can get. To see how your score got to where it is, push where it says View Details. This is going to open up your score and tell you where that number comes from. It comes from 5 different categories: high torque, cruise control, anticipation, low idle, and coasting. We do not use the speeding or the green band. There are 3 scores that are weighted more heavily than the others. These being coasting, anticipation, and idling. The 2 other scores that come into play, high torque and cruise control use, are important, but they are not weighted as heavily as the others. Your goal is to have your score higher than 75 points. So what do these scores mean? High torque, well, there's an obvious one. That's talking about how hard you're mashing that pedal when you're taking off, whether it be from a stop or to climb a hill or just in city driving. The truck does not take off any quicker pushing the pedal to the floor from that green light or from the stop sign. Ease onto the throttle and build your speed up. Pushing the pedal to the floor only dumps more fuel from the engine, burns it off quickly without increasing your performance at all. Cruise control use. This is the amount of time you have spent in cruise control. The truck is going to be much more efficient at keeping your RPMs and your miles per gallon where it needs to be as you're going up and down the road than any driver could be. As much as we all try, we are not going to be able to adjust our throttle going up and down hills or on flat land as well as a computer can do it. Anticipation. This score comes from looking ahead and planning on things to happen. If you're going down the road and you see a truck pull out in front of you, he's going to be going your direction. There's no reason to maintain your speed until you've caught up to the truck and then hit your brakes to slow down. You know he's going to be going slower than you till he builds his speed, so turn off your cruise and coast until you get to him, reducing your speed gradually so you don't have to come to a complete stop or slow down too incredibly much by the time you catch up to him. Low idling. All of our trucks have electric APUs except for a small handful. All of our trucks have electric heat. These APUs should allow you to go through an entire night without your engine turning on at all. Are there exceptions to this? Yes. If we're at extreme temperatures, I'm talking single digits in the wintertime, triple digits in the summertime, the APU may not be able to keep it up as much. We understand you may need to idle the truck at that time. But for the vast majority of times, you will not need to idle your truck to keep comfortable in the cab. These APUs were put on for that specific purpose. I know Freightliner has Opti-Idle, driver comfort mode, These are not as efficient as an electric APU. An electric APU does not need the engine to run at all. Your batteries should easily last an entire night without having to start the engine. If you're finding that your truck cannot do that, there is something wrong with the truck. These are pretty new trucks. Let's get them back to the shop, get the problem taken care of. The vast majority of our trucks do go the entire night without turning that engine on at all. The last one is coasting. Coasting is anytime the truck is moving, but you're not pushing either pedal. You're not giving it any throttle, and you're not riding the brakes. I hear a lot of times people say, well, I drive in Pennsylvania a lot, or out in the mountains a lot, so I'm not able to do that. You're able to do that much better in the mountains. This particular driver we're looking at drives almost exclusively in the mountains out in Pennsylvania. And he's able to keep his scores up pretty decently. So you can see your driving habits greatly affect these scores. It's not just the truck behavior itself. All of these are driver dependent. All right, so I understand my scores, but I'm making changes in my driving habits and I'm not really seeing my numbers change any. Well, by default, this opens up to a 30-day period. You can reduce that down to a 7-day period to see how you did last week. Or what I recommend doing, start your morning every morning by pushing custom. Change these 2 dates up top to just include your yesterday's date. So today's the 7th. We'll click on the 6th for a start date. And we'll click the 6th again for the end date. And now we're seeing just the score for November 6th. So you can see this driver struggled a little bit on the 6th. So you can go back and remember what you did yesterday. You can see what your strengths were, what you're doing very well at, and what you struggled with a little bit. This driver struggled with coasting a little bit. So now you can kind of coach yourself, saying, well, great, I remember what I did. I remembered how it affected my score, and you can see the numbers move much more drastically. Day to day, you can see these move pretty decent numbers. You might see 20, 30 point score differences, where over a 30-day period, you may see them move up 1 or 2 points at a time. So it's a really good way to kind of coach yourself into a higher score. Now, the other thing I recommend doing as far as the dates, push custom again. Your scorecard is based on a month-per-month basis. So what I like to do is take the first date, move it for the first day of the month, and for the second date, we'll go in and we'll change it to the current date. Today's the 7th. And now you can see exactly where you're sitting for your driver scorecard so far for the month. Again, your goal is to be 75 or higher. So use all of these scores down here to get your average up over 75, remembering that torque and cruise control are weighted a little lighter than the others. The important ones to really watch are anticipation, idling, and coasting. Those are the bulk of your score. The next thing we want to talk about on your scorecard is your fuel compliance score. This is a completely different score than the fuel efficiency score, but it's still 25 points of your 100. So between fuel efficiency and fuel compliance, that's half of your scorecard score. So these are things that are, again, completely under a driver's control, and you personally can affect your scorecard pretty heavily with just fuel compliance and fuel efficiency. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Up in the corner, we're going to push the hamburger, or the 3 little lines, and we're going to go to fuel compliance. From this screen, I can do a couple different things. I can zoom in or out to make it show me all the fuel stops within the area I've selected on the map, and I can hit the magnifying glass and it would show me all those. Or it's always set to current location. I can tell it where I'm going. Let's say I'm going to go to, Penn Pallet in St. Mary's. There it is there, so check that. And it's going to create a route from where I'm at to Penn Pallet. Give it a second to finish. And I want to make sure I can see the entire route on the map. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It's only going to show me the fuel prices that you can see on the screen. So until I see the whole map, it's not showing me everything. So now down here, I'm going to drag this up, and it's going to rank all the fuel stops along the route and rank them from the cheapest to the most expensive. Do not assume that the yard is always the cheapest. You can see in this case, the Love's in Hubbard, Ohio is a better fuel stop than Keller. Actually, they're about the same price, so either one would be good, but you will sometimes see Keller further down the list. In this case, they are tied. So the Love's in Hubbard, Ohio and Keller are both $3.91 a gallon. So you might say, all right, well, I get to the Love's in Hubbard and their sign says it's, I don't know, $4.28. We do not pay the price listed on the signs at any of your fuel stops. These prices that are shown here are the prices that we pay with your fuel card. We get a lot of discounts at all these different truck stops. We get especially good deals at Love's, so quite often you see Love's listed at the top, but you can see sometimes Flying J or Petro, they might beat out the Love's at other locations. So always check this out to see where your best choice is going to be. If you are a local driver, you come and go from the same location every time, do not just be in the habit of fueling in whatever's next to the house. That is not the most efficient way. That's not the most cost-effective way to buy fuel. Somewhere halfway through your day or a quarter of the way in might be a better fuel choice than the one right next to your house. It doesn't take any longer to fuel up at one fuel stop than the other. Just because it's at the beginning or end of your day doesn't make it quicker. But these small dollar amounts can add up to a huge cost difference for the company. Can't remember what your score needs to be for the scorecard? Really, just go down to truck documentation. Scroll up just a little bit to driver scorecard detail. And there's a breakdown of everything your score needs to be. There's your fuel compliance score, how many points you get for each fuel level, for each score, and there's fuel efficiency. Then it also has the other ones in there as well. You have your safety score and your productivity score, what you're shooting for those. Remember, these numbers are all in your control. It's completely up to you what you make of this. There's nothing that the truck is dictating in all fuel compliance and all fuel efficiency. You have a great opportunity to control your numbers. If you need help doing that, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'm always here to help.